It's a wicked Wednesday in the Indian T20 League, and boy, don't we have a cracker jacket to preview with you on cricket.com with me, Avnish Hegde, and we have WV Raman in the house. Which game am I talking about? It's Rajasthan versus Delhi, a North Indian derby, unlike never before. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Avnish Hegde, and we have WV Raman, the former head coach of the women's Indian cricket team, to preview this game with us. First and foremost, WV, how are we this Wednesday?
Yeah, we are fine. Obviously, gradually the IPL is getting to a close, but nonetheless, it's been very interesting. And there's also a lot of interest left in this tournament as yet. So that's a good sign, and that is what makes a great tournament.
Yeah, it always is, invariably. There's some fascinating subplots which we'll get to, but let's start with Delhi Capitals before we dot around nicely to Rajasthan Royals then. What is Delhi right now in terms of their qualification status? Do you believe that they can still qualify? Because they have 3 games. Surely it needs to be 3 wins to reach that magical number of 16.
It's possible, one. And secondly, Delhi has the firepower in both its departments, and they've had some good games. They'll take heart from that. And as a team, they can do it, because if you look at the firepower of the batting, that there's no dearth of it at all. You got the Prithvi Shahs, you got the Warners, you got the Powells, you got Rishabh Pants, and then in the bowling they've been well served by the left-arm seamers, and they also got Kuldeep Yadav, who's been in terrific form in this IPL, which means that they do have it. But if they allow the opponents to get away like the CSK did against them, then they can run into a problem. But that is probably a one-off thing, because not every night you're going to have an opponent getting 200 plus against you.
Yeah, you mentioned that's a one-off, but looking back at that 91-run defeat that Delhi suffered, what is the biggest headache if you were Ricky Ponting?
The thing is that it's disappointing that the explosive batting lineup is not really coming to the party when required, because if at all you would fancy a side to get anywhere close to it, it's the Delhi batting lineup, because I repeat that they got enough and more explosive batters in their lineup, but somehow they got to put it together. So the thing is that the temperament is what is going to be highly tested for them, because their individual brilliance is there in that side, but they can they collectively bat their team to be able to cross the line is the big question that needs to be answered. They need to get their act together. They need to fire together for the team to get past the line, and that should happen on 3 consecutive nights. So that is a big test for them. And it's not that it's impossible. Yes, it's tough, but it can be done.
Okay, we talk about Rishabh Pant next, because, his numbers all right this season, but do you expect more from him, especially his ability to read the game as a batsman, or do you think he just knows one way or it's the highway?
Yeah, the thing is, he has to bat the way he knows to bat. The thing is that it's also a situation where the others would have read him quite a bit, and they know that he has his particular areas that he targets. So they're not going to give him there, which means that Rishabh Pant does like to go over mid-wicket and go over covers most of the time. And that is something that obviously would have been noted by a lot of his opponents. And they'll try and ensure that they don't give him in the slot that he desperately looks for. So as a captain, yes, he's still on a learning curve. But as a batter, I think he should have sort of contributed a lot more for his side this season.
Why do you think that is? Is it because of the reasons that you mentioned there, that teams are studying Rishabh Pant's strengths and weaknesses? Or is it the case that he literally just knows one way to play?
That's because there's also a tendency in youngsters who are keen to do well with added responsibility, and somebody who's as aggressive and as much as a go-getter as Rishabh Pant, sometimes they tend to sort of surpass themselves. They got to pipe down a little bit. I've seen it with many cricketers who are game changers. They sometimes get ahead of themselves, which perhaps may not give them the success that they're looking for, because there tends to be a sense of desperation creeping into their cricket, not into their individual traits, but there's a desperation that creeps into their cricket because of the fact that they're aware that they're game changers and a lot is expected of them by others surrounding them. So that could probably be one of the reasons why Rishabh has not done as much as people expected of him.
Yeah, who knows? You never can write a player off like Rishabh Pant, because in these 3 remaining games, he can really take Delhi to greater heights. We'll talk about Rajasthan Royals next, because one thing which strikes me is their settled 11. Everyone seems to be knowing their roles, WV. Do you see this side making any changes, especially after that win that they had against Punjab Kings?
I don't see any changes being made. Yes, one change was forced upon them. Hetmeyer heading back home to celebrate and also have a look at the newborn baby. That is prompted them to make a compulsory change. But look at the way Jaiswal has seamlessly got into the thick of things and given them the confidence. But yes, whether Padikkal at number 4 is the right option, or whether can he do as much as Hetmeyer can do in terms of big hitting, is something that nobody knows, because we've seen Padikkal bat at the top of the order and use the fielding restrictions that are in place during the power play. But what happens later on is something we've not seen of him. But they really seem to be settled for two reasons. One is that the continuity always matters, no matter what format it is or whatever the team atmosphere is. Sanju Samson being a part of the Royal setup for long enough and then continue to lead has done them very well for them. And the other thing is that they've gained immensely in terms of getting experienced bowlers into their ranks, like Chahal, Ashwin and Bolt. So which means that if you're going to be sort of given 3 bowlers who are experienced, who are penetrative and who are capable of reading the situation and adapting themselves quickly enough, what more can a captain ask for? And I think that is perhaps the reason why they've done extraordinarily well this season.
Yeah, that leads me nicely to my next question then, because I was going to ask you what has changed compared to the years gone by this season for Rajasthan Royals. Is it more the Indian core that you just mentioned there, people like Chahal, Ashwin, Padikkal, of course, good acquisitions, or is it the ability to rake up all those X factors like they did in the auction? You talk about Hetmeyer, you talk about Trent Bolt. These are impact players. Is that making them a much more solid side this year around?
Their choices have been good, because the 2 fast bowlers, foreign fast bowlers that a side needs is for to generate pace. And 2 hitters that you bring into the 11, you need them to really sort of get runs anywhere between 150 to 200 if possible. That's the strike rate I'm talking about. So Hetmeyer is capable of doing that. Josh Butler is doing that for them. And Trent Bolt, of course, we can keep on talking about him the whole night. That's not the issue here. So, but again, cleverly enough, they got the Indian spinners, because, spinners, if you look around that are available, you will see that the experienced spinners you would obviously find in the Indian ranks. And if you can get Chahal and Ashwin, now come on, you can't ask for a better pair of bowlers. And that is what they've done well enough to ensure that their fortunes are going to be far, far better than it was in the earlier years.
Okay, predictions then, because Rajasthan sitting pretty on 14 points. Delhi, of course, need to win all their games to mathematically still have a chance in it. Who are you siding in this one, Royals or the Capitals?
As always, I want the table to be interesting. I would go for the Capitals. I'm not going by all the yarn that I give about the various strengths and weaknesses of the sides. I've always gone behind the underdogs, so I'm not going to go away from that logic of mine in terms of predictions. I'll go with the Capitals.
Okay, great minds think alike. I actually resonate with you. I mean, I hope cricket is the winner, really, because like you said, it makes it all the more interesting, especially heading into the last couple of games in the league stage. And then, of course, the playoffs arrive. Let's see who makes it. Let's see who wins this battle. You can catch it all on cricket.com. We'll have WV post-match as well. So catch us then. It's a goodbye from me, Avnish Hegde. Have a fantastic week ahead.